Good morning. It's great to be here. I learned quite a bit from the last fireside chat. I learned smart people like Thomas think in associative memory, and I learned Stanford needs to do a better job in admitting students. So we are going to be talking about AI, and now AI is a buzzword of the last couple of years. You couldn't go to any conference without hearing the word. But I think the take from Cheetah Mobile is a little different. We don't have the smartest data scientists. We don't have the smartest computer vision researchers. But what we do well is how to turn technology into products. And that's what this talk is going to be about, is how can we take a technology and figure out how can we make it a product that can change people's lives. So before talking about artificial intelligence, let me go back first about 20 years or 25 years looking at the internet. So internet started appearing in the 90s, and it certainly made a huge impact to our society. Really, it just did one thing, I think, if you really look at the root of what the internet did. It made better connections between everyone. It removed a lot of the barriers for you to connect to the world. And just by doing that one simple thing, it really impacted every industry. By doing it really removed the asymmetry between the information. Before, often, whether you are talking about publishers of books or newspapers or even TV and radio stations, it's always fewer people publishing and many more people consuming the data. And that creating a information asymmetry that caused a lot of inefficiencies in the system. And the internet really removed that asymmetry and create really peer-to-peer marketplaces that maximize the efficiency of information flow. It democratized the content creation. Before, only the elite could create content, but now everyone could. So you have the media. Really, everyone can become a journalist and everyone can become an author. And if you have your mobile phone or if you have a computer, you can publish your content to the world. It clearly redefined the human relationships. With social networks, there are more dimensions how we interact with each other, that you can become best friends without even meeting each other face to face. And there are even new kind of relationships being created that never existed before. And in effect, it really made the world flat. It removed all the hierarchies and the artificial barriers, whether horizontal barriers or vertical boundaries between regions, and made the world really a single, more unified village. And by doing that, it's changing. Here are just some examples of the impact it made to different areas. First, for my kids to do research for their homework, before I couldn't even remember what I did when I was young, but now you just go to the internet and get all your homework done. I guess before you have to go to library or ask your parents or something. So it really changed the way you do research from kids to adults. It completely transformed retail industry. It redefined the contacts, professional or personal. It changed the way how services are delivered, with the online to offline services, whether it's Uber or whether it's DoorDash or their equivalent in China. In fact, China is leading in many of these areas. Now, everything could be a click away, and they will show up at your door. And then in the entertainment world, it certainly also changed. Now everyone can become their own star. With YouTube and with the live streaming applications now, that for anyone who has talent or who has a desire to demonstrate their talent, they can become an influencer and they can become an entertainer. So it certainly changed everything. Now the question is, what's next? Now, internet have these antennas and connections everywhere. But I think what is next, besides making the connections, is really have internet have more sensory devices, have its ears, have its eyes, and more importantly, to have its brain. So rather be a passive place where people can connect more with each other and generate more creativity and productivity, it can become an active place where intelligence can exist within the internet, and that can make even bigger impact to every industry. And that is, I believe, what the significance of AI is to the world, is it can add this intelligence, add this brain, as well as add the senses to the internet that's already existing around us. Now let's look at the current state of artificial intelligence. Now, we're hearing a lot from them, but really they exist to us compared to the potential what it could do to us is at very early stages. We are seeing a lot of PowerPoint, including this one, talking about AI. We are seeing demos, and we are seeing showcases, the technology showcases how AI could beat the best Go player in the world, for example. Now, that's great. It's very impressive, but it does not impact my life by having the best AI Go player, because I'm not a very good Go player. so it's still at very early stage, and it hasn't really made its impact into the everyday life yet. And we believe the reason is the people who know AI are the scientists and engineers. And with scientists and engineers, the thinking or the logic is usually in this direction, is that, okay, let me create something that's wonderful, that's disruptive, that's super cool, and now what can I do with it? So you kind of starting from the technology or the innovation, and then you figure out what can you do. So you have an engine, and then you figure out what can I do with this engine. Now there is a disconnect between this type of logic of an engineer to a logic by a product manager. So with a product manager, it's usually goes the other direction. You are thinking about what you want to do first, and then try to figure out what do you need to have to do what you need to do. So you want to build a vehicle, and then you figure out, okay, now I need an engine, I need a steering wheel, and maybe I need some seats. So you go the other direction, and there is often, for those of you who work in technology companies, there's often a divide between these two thinkings. Those who thinking about the technology versus those thinking about the customers, the use cases, and the product per se. And I think for most of the AI technologies today, who knows the AI best, 95% of the people thinking in the first manner is thinking technology first, thinking various algorithms and various mathematical models and various data that can allow you to do something different. And there are fewer people who knows AI and who can apply a product level thinking to the technology. And we think perhaps that is something at Cheetah what we could focus on. So Cheetah is a relatively young company. It was born in the mobile internet age. It was born in 2010, and it grew quite quickly over the last 7 years. And we have, as the host introduced, we have over 3 billion installs, and we still have over 600 million monthly active users around the world. 80% of those are outside of China. So even though the company's headquarters is based in China, most of our users are outside of China. And we were the leading developer of utility apps for Android. So our specialty is creating tools that help people increasing their productivity with their devices. And we have created some successful apps like Clean Master, like CM Security, now called Security Master, and Battery Doctor. And we have expanded over the last couple of years into gaming as well as into content apps. So the bulk of this talk, I'm going to give a couple examples of how we want to apply the AI technology to enhance or to perfect some of the products we have, and how can we, starting from what users need, and then figure out what's the technology that's appropriate to really maximize or optimize that user experience. And here I mentioned we started with utility apps, and we are working on some content apps, and we're also going to robotics. And the two examples I'm going to give is in the content product space and in the robotics space. So first on the content, Cheetah acquired a company about the same time in June last year called News Republic. And what News Republic does is it really collects all the content the world publishes. It imports about 100,000 articles every day, and it analyzes these articles, and it analyzes the profiles of the users, and it's really trying to create a personal newspaper, if you will, to every user and have that available to them. And so why we think this is something interesting to do is because as we look at, in terms of content delivery over the internet, we believe it has went through three stages, at least three stages already. Started in the early days of internet, what you do is you put your content with a www domain name so you can publish it. So every publisher start to have their website, and you could have portals like AOL and Yahoo and so on that connect these websites. So that's really the stage one. And then the search engine came along. It indexed the whole internet and make it much more accessible and searchable. And you can, as long as you know the search word, and that's the key, as long as you know what you're looking for, the content can be delivered to you right away. And the third stage is really social media. Now, social media is meant to creating the connections. But in the mobile age, through the cell phones, it actually exceeded search engine in terms of where the people get their information. And the reason is, with a mobile device, our interaction with it compared to PC is much more fragmented. We turn on and turn off our mobile phones over 100 times a day. And one side effect, which is probably not a good side effect, is you have less time thinking, and there's less time you actually know what you're looking for. So with such fragmented interactions, social net becomes more popular because you don't need to know what you're looking for. Kind of your friends push them to you, or the platform push the information to you. So that, in fact, I get probably most of my news today from either WeChat or Facebook. So that's how social network becomes popular, because in this case, your friends know more what you're looking for than you do yourself, because at any given time, I'm kind of just very interrupt driven. But we think there is a fourth stage. The fourth stage is, given the AI technology and given the amount of data that's available today, the machine and the data might know more about what information you need at this moment in time than both of yourself and your friends. So we think there is a fourth era or another method that is AI-driven personalized content delivery, and that's where the News Republic really lies in. And what's underneath News Republic is an AI machine learning model that's based on deep learning. And we essentially profile the content and profile the users, and we have a recommendation engine that is using a deep neural net model now that in effect create a personal editor, or maybe more than one personal editor, for every single user. So today we have over 10 million daily active users of this app around the world. And on average, they spend over 20 minutes per day on this app to consume the best information that's personalized for them. So that's one example of the application of AI in the content delivery space. Now let me give you a second example. And this example is a new product that was just introduced to the consumers. And this product called Xiaoya, smart speaker. And this is actually a product in name by Himalaya, which is a popular audible content hub in China. But the product was created by us, by Cheetah. So we were the heroes behind the scenes in creating both the hardware and the software behind this product. And for those of you who have an Echo at home, this is similar in its form factor. It's a speaker, but it's an intelligent speaker. It has a microphone array inside. You can talk to it and you can interact with it. And most importantly, it has much content available through this product. So we created really a subsidiary company to working on this product in collaboration with Himalaya. And we started by looking at, to create a product like this in China, and this is primarily for Chinese consumers, what would people need? And we found there are three key things. And the key about doing a product is you cannot focus on too many things. You cannot look at a list of 100 different things to work on. So we focus on three things. Number one is, how do you have a good response rate? Every time you want to wake it up, it will wake up. How you can have enormous amount of content that's available. Really, at the end, is how much music and how many books and stories that you can tell you that makes a difference whether the product is going to be successful. And really, how good is the interaction? How well does it understand your demand and answer to your demand? And at the end, it's the user experience that's going to decide the success or failures of this product. So first, on the response rate, we want to really achieve 100% response rate. And so we created a state-of-art 6+1 speaker array, and we incorporated various technologies to reduce the noise and having it response really well. And then we did testing. It actually exceeded Echo in its ability to be woken up. And then on the content side, really the key thing is amount of content that's available. And we have a good advantage that this is a collaboration with Himalaya. But we also worked with quite a few other partners to getting various music and stories and books into its library. So it's the most content-rich intelligent speaker on the China market today. And on the really good user interaction, it requires good technology in natural language processing and in the chatbot technologies. And we really created the best technology for Chinese in this case. And it can interact in a very natural way with users. Now, besides these things, there's one more thing, which is we think what decides the user experience is how personal the voice is interacting with you. So before Xiaoya, so I hope you can play, this will be a typical voice. It is connected to the audio. Okay, let's try again.
大家好，欢迎来到这场关于孤独的发布会。我给大家放首音乐暖暖场。An hour rolling in the deep.
Okay, so this will be a typical AI voice, and in fact, I spent a little while trying to figure out what's the song that's trying to play. Now this will be a Xiaoya voice.
嗨，很高兴认识你， 我是你的语音助手小雅，我可以为你推荐精彩的喜马拉雅节目，播放好听的流行音乐，告诉你今天的天气情况，帮你设置闹钟提醒，还能和你聊聊心事。下面为你推荐一首好听的英文歌曲 Adele Rolling in the Deep。
All right. So we spend hundreds of thousands of hours to perfect the voice of the AI, so make it like a real person. And we believe that's what's to make a difference between a successful and failed product is what kind of a product experience you deliver to your customers. Okay, so that's the end of my talk. Thank you.